If you love FPS games, you're in the right place. Today, we're counting down 30 of the best 10 out of 10 shooters you can play on the Nintendo Switch. From stylish indies to iconic classics, this list is packed with pure action. Let's dive straight in. Imagine a comic book tossing you into deep space, handing you a shotgun, and saying, "Good luck out there." That's Void Bastards. This shooter mixes fast decisions with smart planning. Every abandoned ship feels like a small maze filled with strange enemies, limited supplies, and just enough chaos to keep you nervous. You're constantly choosing whether to fight, sneak, or sprint for the exit, and half the time, you're doing all three in the same run. The roguelike structure keeps every attempt fresh, and the game's sense of humor is surprisingly sharp. It's hard not to laugh when you're trying to decide between precious oxygen or grabbing just one more piece of loot. Void Bastards is strategic, stylish, and incredibly addictive. It pulls you in with its simple loop: board a ship, take a risk, and hope you make it back alive. It's clever, tense, and fun in a very unique way. Quake II is pure 90s FPS energy. No fluff, no filler, just fast movement, heavy weapons, and enemies that want to turn you into scrap metal. This game is all about momentum. You're always strafing, dodging, and firing without slowing down. The classic level design gives you a steady rhythm of tight corridors, open arenas, and sudden ambushes that keep you alert. What really stands out is how smooth the action feels. Even decades later, the weapons have real weight, and the combat still clicks in a way modern shooters sometimes forget. There's no long tutorial and no endless cutscenes, just you, your arsenal, and a whole lot of explosions. If you grew up on LAN parties or you love the golden age of shooters, Quake II delivers exactly what you want. It's fast, focused, and endlessly replayable. A perfect reminder of why old school FPS design still hits so hard. Time only moves when you move. That one rule turned Superhot into one of the smartest and most stylish shooters ever made. Instead of rushing through firefights, you slow everything down and plan each action like a puzzle. Every level feels like a frozen action scene. Bullets hang in the air, enemies stand mid-attack, and you're deciding the perfect way to break out of the trap. Maybe you sidestep a shot, throw a weapon, grab another, and take down 3 enemies in one smooth chain of moves. The minimalist art style makes every moment clean and easy to read, which works great for narration and pacing, and the short mission format keeps you saying, okay, just one more. Superhot makes you feel clever, calm, and cool all at once. It blends strategy, timing, and pure style in a way no other FPS really does. It's simple to learn, but endlessly satisfying to master. If you've ever wondered what surviving underground after the apocalypse really feels like, Metro 2033 pulls you right into the dark and doesn't let go. This is a shooter built on tension, atmosphere, and the constant pressure of limited supplies. Every tunnel feels alive, filled with echoes, flickering lights, and threats you sometimes hear long before you see. You're always deciding whether to sneak around danger or face it head on, knowing every bullet has weight. The immersion is incredible. Your gas mask fogs up, filters run low, mutants stalk you from the shadows, and the world feels harsh in a way that makes every quiet moment feel earned. When fights break out, they hit hard because of the slow buildup before them. Metro 2033 isn't just action, it's survival, fear, and storytelling woven together into one unforgettable journey through the ruins of humanity. Okay, this next game asks a simple question. What if your leg was literally a chainsaw and you lived in a neon nightmare where everything wants you dead? Turbo Overkill takes that idea and turns it into pure high-speed chaos. This game never believes in slowing down. You're sliding across arenas, tearing through enemies, and chaining together attacks so fast it feels like your hands are trying to keep up with your instincts. The movement is the heart of the game. Once you get into the rhythm, everything clicks. Dash, slice, shoot, repeat. It's intense, but in a way that feels incredibly satisfying once you embrace the speed. Add in over-the-top weapons and wild visual effects, and you get an FPS experience that's loud, flashy, and proudly ridiculous. If you love shooters that run on pure adrenaline, Turbo Overkill feels like a cyberpunk fever dream with no breaks and no mercy. Of infinite sin! This is the definition of retro FPS comfort food. Demonic, chunky, atmospheric, and somehow still scary decades later. Doom 64 takes everything classic Doom fans love and gives it a darker edge. The lighting is moody, the levels feel claustrophobic, and every hallway carries a sense of dread that builds tension without needing jump scares. The gameplay is pure and simple: fast movement, aggressive enemies, and weapons that hit with satisfying impact. Every room pushes you to stay alert, dodge attacks, and keep firing. The art style and sound design give this version a slightly eerie feel compared to other classic Doom entries, making each encounter feel more unsettling. What keeps Doom 64 timeless is its clean, no-nonsense design. No cutscenes slowing you down, no layers of mechanics to learn, just tightly crafted levels and non-stop demon blasting. It's retro, it's intense, and it's endlessly replayable. Suit up, because this is the super soldier fantasy that finally lets you feel unstoppable without ever losing the tension of each encounter. Crysis II Remastered drops you into a city under siege and hands you a nanosuit that can turn you into a tank, a ghost, or a high-speed wrecking ball. The fun comes from blending those abilities into smooth combat flow. Maybe you cloak to flank an enemy squad, switch to armor mode when things get messy, then leap across rooftops to reposition. The game balances power with vulnerability. Even with all your tech, you can't just run straight into firefights. You still have to plan, observe enemy patterns, and decide when to strike. Weapons feel punchy, enemies react aggressively, and the pacing constantly shifts between quiet scouting and explosive action. Crysis II Remastered is sleek, tactical, and cinematic without ever being overwhelming. It's a power trip with strategy layered underneath.
You have to.
Ever wanted a retro FPS that feels like Doom, Heretic, and Wolfenstein smashed together by a teenager who loves pixel art? That's exactly the energy Project Warlock brings. This game mixes old-school shooting with light RPG upgrades, giving you both non-stop action and just enough customization to shape your playstyle. Levels are short and punchy, throwing enemies at you in tight waves that reward quick reflexes and smart weapon switching. You're constantly finding new spells, guns, and tools that make each arena feel fresh. The pixel art style isn't just for nostalgia, it gives the game a bold, colorful identity that stands out even among retro-inspired shooters. What keeps Project Warlock engaging is its pacing. There's almost no downtime. Every room pushes you forward with fast combat and satisfying explosions. It scratches that classic FPS itch, but adds modern touches that keep things exciting. It's simple, loud, stylish, and incredibly fun.
And enter hell to conquer it.
Oh, you already know this one. The shooter that probably ruined friendships in the 90s is finally back, and just as iconic. GoldenEye 007 brings that unforgettable blend of spy action, stealth moments, and classic missions that help define the genre. The campaign still holds up with its mix of objective-based gameplay, slower pacing, and those just one more attempt moments every time you fail a mission by a single mistake. The weapons feel distinct, the enemy reactions are delightfully old school, and the level design encourages exploration rather than rushing through. It's a game that rewards patience and precision just as much as quick shooting. And of course, the nostalgia hits immediately, from familiar sound effects to those stylish mission briefings. GoldenEye isn't just a retro throwback, it's a reminder of how inventive early FPS design could be, and how well-crafted missions can stay fun decades later. It's iconic for a reason. After years of waiting, the galaxy's coolest bounty hunter is finally back, and the excitement around Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is unreal. This new chapter sends Samus to the mysterious world of Vuros, where ancient technology, strange creatures, and a new rival bounty hunter named Sylux push her into some of her most challenging encounters yet. The game keeps the core spirit of the Prime series intact: atmospheric exploration, thoughtful scanning, and methodical combat that encourages you to study your surroundings. At the same time, new psychic abilities let Samus manipulate objects, beams, and enemies in ways that add fresh layers to both puzzles and battles. Exploration feels bigger and more fluid, thanks to large interconnected zones and new traversal tools that expand how you navigate the environment. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond delivers a confident evolution of the formula, immersive, mysterious, and full of that signature tension between discovery and danger. This next one proves old school Star Wars shooters still hit hard, because Dark Forces Remaster brings back that 90s sci-fi adrenaline with a clean, modern shine. You step into the boots of Kyle Katarn, a mercenary who quickly becomes one of the coolest heroes in the expanded universe. The game mixes classic FPS action with Star Wars style in a way that still feels refreshing. Levels are maze-like and packed with secrets, giving the game a strong sense of exploration. The blasters and gadgets feel distinct, and enemies react in that wonderfully retro way that instantly transports you back in time. The remaster smooths out visuals and performance without changing the heart of the game. Dark Forces isn't just a nostalgia trip, it shows how creative early FPS design could be, especially when combined with a universe as iconic as Star Wars. It's simple, fast, atmospheric, and surprisingly addictive even today.
Stop where you are.
Kick in a door, shout in excitement, and spray bullets everywhere, because RICO is basically an arcade cop movie turned into a first-person shooter. The entire game revolves around procedurally generated missions where you storm buildings, bust criminals, and try not to get overwhelmed by the chaos. What makes RICO fun is its commitment to fast, simple, satisfying action. There's no complicated setup. You enter a room, slow motion kicks in, and you clear the area with whatever weapons you've scavenged. The roguelike structure keeps every mission different, pushing you to adapt your tactics as you go. Enemies come at you quickly, so movement and reaction time matter just as much as accuracy, and the stylized art gives the whole game a playful edge. RICO doesn't pretend to be deep or dramatic. It's pure, explosive fun built around quick rounds and ridiculous shootouts. Perfect for when you just want action without overthinking. If you missed the era when FPS games were fast, feral, and downright unhinged, Dusk is the modern retro revival you've been waiting for. This game throws you into a world full of cultists, monsters, and twisted environments that feel like they crawled straight out of a nightmare-laced 90s PC shooter. The pace is relentless. You're always moving, always dodging, and always firing. Levels are cleverly designed with secrets tucked into odd corners, giving each run a sense of exploration even amid the chaos. The weapons are old school in the best way, simple, powerful, and satisfying with every pull of the trigger. What makes Dusk shine is its understanding of what made classic shooters so good. No filler, no fluff, just pure action delivered with style and attitude. It's gritty, loud, and incredibly fun, especially if you love that blend of speed, precision, and retro horror atmosphere that never gets old. 3 legendary shooters, 1 collection, and enough atmosphere and storytelling to keep you hooked for weeks. BioShock the Collection brings together BioShock, BioShock II, and BioShock Infinite, each offering a different take on immersive world building and first-person combat. The original BioShock pulls you into the underwater city of Rapture, filled with eerie corridors, haunting audio logs, and unforgettable encounters. BioShock 2 gives you a new perspective with a heavier, more aggressive style of combat, and Infinite takes you above the clouds into Columbia, blending bright colors with dark themes. Across all 3 games, the mix of gunplay and plasmid-style abilities creates dynamic combat encounters where you're always experimenting with combos. The worlds are rich, the writing is sharp, and the atmosphere is unmatched. This collection isn't just about shooting, it's about stepping into beautifully crafted worlds that stay with you long after the credits roll.
That'll do.
Sometimes you just want to be a sarcastic redneck blasting monsters inside ancient pyramids, and Immortal Redneck absolutely leans into that chaos. This is a roguelike FPS with fast movement, colorful environments, and a goofy personality that keeps things light even when the action gets intense. Each run throws you into procedurally generated tower floors filled with traps, enemies, and loot that slowly powers you up. The combat is quick and responsive, with weapons ranging from traditional guns to magical tools that shake up your strategy. What makes the game addictive is how quickly runs flow into each other. You might die in minutes, shrug it off, upgrade a skill or two, and jump right back in. It's easy to lose track of time as you push a little farther with each attempt. Immortal Redneck isn't trying to be deep or dramatic. It's fast, funny, and perfect for players who love pure arcade-style shooting. This is the granddaddy of gothic shooters. Dark corridors, grotesque monsters, and movement so smooth you'll forget it's from 1996. Quake throws you into a brutal world filled with nail guns, fiends, and levels that feel like twisted labyrinths carved out of nightmares. The game is pure speed and aggression. You rocket jump through arenas, strafe around melee enemies, and fire off weapons that still feel iconic decades later. Its atmosphere is thick with creeping dread, yet the combat is fast enough to keep your heart racing. What sets Quake Quake apart is how well it blends horror themes with clean, precise shooter gameplay. There's no wasted space, no filler rooms. Every corner hides either danger or a secret worth finding. Even today, Quake's design feels timeless. The rhythm of movement and combat is addictive, and the eerie soundtrack seals the mood perfectly. It's gritty, raw, and essential for any FPS fan. This one is basically, hey, what if a horror sci-fi roguelike FPS trapped you in a ship full of mutants that really want you dead? The Persistence puts you inside a malfunctioning space vessel, where every corridor is dark, every room feels unsafe, and enemies lurk just beyond the glow of your flashlight. The twist is the roguelike structure. Every time you die, the ship rearranges itself, forcing you to rethink your strategy on the next attempt. Combat is tense, with limited ammo and tools that push you to approach each fight carefully. What makes the game so gripping is its atmosphere. The low lighting, eerie sounds, and unexpected ambushes keep you constantly on edge. It feels like you're fighting against the ship itself, not just the creatures on it. The Persistence blends stealth, survival, and FPS action into a unique mix that feels both frightening and rewarding as you slowly adapt and improve. The classics that invented the FPS genre still rip and tear just as hard today, and Doom plus Doom 2 prove exactly why. These games are pure distilled action. You run fast, shoot faster, and move through maze-like levels packed with demons, secrets, and non-stop combat. There's no modern fluff here. No long cutscenes, no complicated systems. Just you, a pile of weapons, and a roster of enemies that want you gone. The pace is relentless, encouraging constant movement and quick decision-making. What keeps these games timeless is how well the levels are designed. Each stage has its own flow, surprising ambush points, and clever layouts that reward exploration. Finding a hidden room or grabbing a powerful weapon still feels exciting after all these years. Doom and Doom 2 are comfort food for FPS fans. Fast, brutal, and endlessly replayable. They're the foundation of the genre, and they still hold up incredibly well. Here's a wild one, a remaster of a forgotten 90s Egyptian-themed shooter that aged surprisingly well. PowerSlave Exhumed blends old-school level design with unique movement and environmental puzzles, creating a shooter that feels both nostalgic and surprisingly fresh. You explore temples, caverns, and ancient ruins filled with traps and supernatural enemies, all while collecting new abilities that let you backtrack and uncover hidden areas. It's almost like a Metroidvania wrapped in a retro FPS shell. The weapons feel punchy, the enemies are varied, and the level layouts reward players who pay attention. What makes this remaster shine is just how smooth and polished everything feels compared to the original. The updated lighting and controls help bring out the charm of the old design without losing any of the game's weird personality. PowerSlave Exhumed is an underrated gem, fast, adventurous, and packed with that classic 90s shooter spirit. Before stealth FPS hybrids were cool, Perfect Dark was already out here mixing gadgets, aliens, and secret agent chaos into one ambitious package. This game builds on the foundation of classic shooters, but adds objectives, spy tools, and mission variety that make every level feel different. You play as Joanna Dark, tackling infiltration missions, rescue ops, and alien encounters with a kit full of futuristic weapons and gadgets. The laptop gun alone is a legend, part firearm, part deployable turret, and completely unforgettable. Perfect Dark stands out because of how much creativity went into each mission. You're not just running to an exit, you're completing tasks, scanning evidence, hacking systems, and uncovering layers of conspiracy. Even today, the mix of stealth and action feels ambitious. It's a shooter with personality, depth, and a sense of style that helped push the genre forward. For fans of classic FPS design, it's a must experience.
Corporation to end their alien conspiracy in Perfect Dark.
This might be the most impressive "how did they fit this on here" moment. Wolfenstein II: The New Colossus delivers huge cinematic action and intense firefights without holding back. You play as BJ Blazkowicz, leading a resistance movement and diving into battles that swing between emotional storytelling and explosive chaos. The gunplay is heavy and impactful, with weapons that feel powerful from the first encounter to the last. Dual-wielding different guns adds a layer of aggressive strategy, letting you mow through enemies while still managing positioning and cover. What makes the game memorable is its tone. One moment you're in a brutal firefight, and the next you're watching a surprisingly heartfelt character moment. That contrast gives Wolfenstein II a unique emotional punch. It's bold, gritty, and filled with set pieces that keep the momentum high. A true powerhouse shooter built around a compelling story and furious action.
me burn.
Think 90s horror FPS vibes, weird humor, and lots of ghosts. Killing Time Resurrected is like rediscovering a spooky, forgotten cartridge from another era. This remaster brings back a game filled with surreal enemies, eccentric characters, and a mansion that feels alive with bizarre secrets. The combat is simple but satisfying, with weapons that carry that old-school charm, loud, clunky, and fun to fire. You'll encounter everything from haunted objects to twisted creatures, each adding to the game's strange sense of personality. What really stands out is the atmosphere. It mixes creepy tension with goofy charm, creating a tone that feels unique even among retro shooters. The FMV-style character cut-ins add to the bizarre humor, making it feel like a haunted house attraction that doesn't take itself too seriously. Killing Time Resurrected is quirky, nostalgic, and delightfully odd. It's the kind of FPS that sticks with you simply because nothing else plays quite like it. Yes, the meme game that once melted PCs is actually here, and it still lets you feel like a one-man alien-destroying army. Crysis Remastered gives you a nanosuit that can boost strength, enhance armor, or turn you nearly invisible, letting you approach every encounter in your own style. The open environments encourage experimentation. You can cloak and sneak through enemy lines, dive into combat with heavy weapons, or use mobility to flank and surprise opponents. Each ability feels powerful, but not invincible, keeping the tension high. What makes Crysis memorable is how dynamic the fights feel. Enemies react quickly, vehicles add chaos, and the alien encounters shift the tone from military shooter to full sci-fi action. Even years later, Crysis delivers a great blend of strategy and power fantasy. It's flexible, fast, and packed with moments where you feel like the smartest and strongest person on the battlefield. If stylish headshots and cowboy narration sound fun, Gunslinger delivers pure Wild West FPS flair from start to finish. You play as Silas Greaves, a bounty hunter telling exaggerated stories about his past, and the game leans hard into that tall tale style. The narration changes as you fight, sometimes altering the environment or spawning new enemies because Silas remembers things differently. It gives every level a playful, unpredictable feeling. Gunplay is sharp and satisfying. Revolvers, rifles, and shotguns all feel great, especially during slow-motion duels where timing is everything. The comic-style visuals and fast pacing keep the action engaging without overwhelming you. What makes Gunslinger special is its personality. It's not just an FPS. It's a storytelling roller coaster with charm, humor, and a unique framing device. If you want a shooter that's lighthearted, stylish, and full of character, this is one of the best Wild West experiences out there. This is what happens when modern graphics tech and old-school shooter design shake hands, and then immediately start blowing stuff up. AProdeus blends the feel of classic 90s shooters with modern visual effects, creating a style that's both nostalgic and explosively fresh. Combat is fast, loud, and incredibly satisfying. Enemies burst into pixelated gore, weapons fire with heavy impact, and the arenas are designed to keep you moving. There's no hiding behind cover. AProdeus wants you in constant motion, chaining kills and blasting through waves of enemies. The art style is a standout. It mixes retro pixel textures with modern lighting and particle effects, giving the game a unique look that feels like a high-definition memory. Everything is crisp, readable, and bursting with energy. AProdeus is pure FPS joy. No filler, no overcomplication. Just tight level design, massive firepower, and a relentless pace that feels amazing from the first shot to the last. If 2033 was the nightmare, Last Light is the desperate fight to hold on to hope, with even more intense FPS moments. Metro Last Light Redux builds on the first game's tension and atmosphere, but pushes deeper into storytelling, world building, and emotional weight. You explore ruined cities, cramped tunnels, and eerie surface environments where every bullet still matters. Combat feels heavier and more deliberate, with improved gunplay and smarter enemy behavior that keeps encounters sharp. The stealth is smoother, and the open sections introduce moments of calm before everything inevitably goes wrong. What sets Last Light apart is its humanity. Characters feel real, the factions are complex, and the world feels like it's barely held together. The result is a shooter that blends heart-pounding action with strong narrative moments. Metro Last Light Redux is gripping, emotional, and unforgettable, a perfect follow-up that expands the world while keeping its survival roots intact. A slower, darker Doom. This one isn't about speed, it's about claustrophobic horror and jump scares that genuinely land. Doom 3 shifts the series toward atmospheric tension, filling tight corridors with flickering lights, disturbing sounds, and enemies that love to ambush you from shadows. Combat is still intense, but the pacing is different. Instead of rushing through arenas, you're creeping around corners, checking vents, and bracing for whatever is about to leap out at you. Weapons feel powerful, but the game constantly limits your visibility to keep you uneasy. The story plays a bigger role here, with logs, terminals, and environmental details building a sense of dread as Mars falls deeper into chaos. Doom 3 stands out because it's not trying to be the fastest or the loudest, it's trying to scare you, and it succeeds. It's atmospheric, tense, and packed with memorable horror shooter moments. It's still the gold standard of how to turn an exploration game into a first-person masterpiece, now looking better than ever. Metroid Prime Remastered brings Samus's atmospheric adventure into crisp detail, while keeping everything that made the original so iconic. This isn't just a shooter, it's a world you explore slowly, scanning creatures, uncovering secrets, and piecing together the story of Talon 4. Combat is tight and responsive, but the real magic is in how the game blends action with discovery. Every new upgrade changes how you interact with the environment, opening doors to areas you passed hours ago. The remaster enhances the visuals and controls without losing the original soul. The music, the ambiance, the isolation, it all comes together to create a feeling no other FPS really captures. Metroid Prime Remastered is polished, atmospheric, and endlessly rewarding. It's a must-play for anyone who loves thoughtful, immersive, first-person adventures. If you crave open-world tension, bleak landscapes, and FPS survival where every bullet matters, STALKER Call of Pripyat is in a league of its own. This game drops you into the exclusion zone, a place full of deadly anomalies, unpredictable mutants, and factions all fighting for survival. The experience is slow, heavy, and immersive. You're scavenging supplies, repairing gear, and venturing into dangerous areas where one wrong step can end a run. Combat feels raw, guns kick hard, enemies don't go down easily, and the world itself is constantly working against you. What makes STALKER unique is its atmosphere. It's lonely, eerie, and full of tension even when nothing is happening. The open world structure lets you approach missions however you want, creating moments of unscripted drama that feel completely organic. Call of Pripyat is harsh but unforgettable, a survival shooter where the fear and thrill come equally from the world and the enemies within it. This is the moment Doom came roaring back. Fast, crunchy, metal-as-hell combat that feels incredible from the first encounter to the last. Doom 2016 strips away everything unnecessary and focuses on pure, aggressive momentum. You're constantly moving, constantly attacking, and constantly chaining kills to stay alive. The glory kill system keeps the pace high, rewarding you for taking risks instead of hiding behind cover. Every weapon has its own satisfying punch, from the shotgun's booming blast to the chain gun's shredding roar. The level design fuels that momentum, giving you arenas built for speed, vertical movement, and non-stop action. Even the soundtrack ramps up the energy, pushing you into a rhythm that feels almost instinctual. Doom 2016 isn't just a reboot, it's a celebration of everything that makes shooters fun. Fast, brutal, stylish, and endlessly replayable, it's one of the most thrilling FPS experiences of the modern era. That wraps up the 30 best 10 out of 10 FPS games on Nintendo Switch. Whether you love retro chaos or modern cinematic action, there's something here to dive into. Tell me your favorite in the comments and subscribe for more Nintendo countdowns.